the practice of meditation is a practice to cultivate seeing, to cultivate your ability to be what you are, which is already the case. You know? The awareness that is our true nature is always the same. It never changes. It never moves. And so when you practice meditation, if you're practicing it the way it's meant to be done consistently, and you understand through the teaching that what this is about is waking up, what this is about is recognizing your true nature, right? So that when you're practicing meditation, when you're sitting, right, at some point, you want to have the intention to see, you want to have the intention to notice the awareness. So that's important. That's what the formal practice is intended for. In the beginning of the practice, you're just getting used to the practice. In the beginning of the practice, you go through boredom, you go through resistance, you go through all that stuff that makes people stop practicing. But you don't stop practicing because you understand that that's just the initial phase of the practice. That's just getting used to sitting. That's just, practicing in the beginning. But after you get your feet wet, after you practice for a while, right, where the technique doesn't require so much of your attention, right, then you can start giving yourself more to the seeing experience that becomes available when we move attention away from the thinking activity. You want to be able to recognize, you want to be able at some point to know that you saw it. At some point you want to be able to know that you saw it, to know that you recognize awareness. And then after having recognized it, when you're sitting in meditation, you want to keep coming back to the glimpse. See it, come back, glimpse it. And as you keep doing this over time, right, the certainty that you had about what you were and the certainty you had about the world, right, starts to weaken. And so a good sign in the practice of meditation over time is that you begin to experience uncertainty. You're not certain anymore about what you used to be certain about. You're not certain anymore about who you used to think you were. You're not certain anymore about the idea that you're this physical body. That's weakening now from the practice. So you start to experience uncertainty, and that can be uncomfortable, If you don't understand this process, that can be scary, You feel like maybe you're losing your mind, Maybe I'm losing my contact with reality. So this is one of the reasons it's important to have a teacher, so the teacher can tell you you're okay, don't worry about it. That's not a problem. Nothing's going to happen bad, unless it does. I can't predict the future when it comes to that. But generally speaking, nothing's going to happen bad. I mean, all you're doing is being, right? So you start to begin experience uncertainty. So you go from certainty about what's not real to uncertainty about what's not real. That's a good move, right? Then the next move is certainty about what is real. Right? This is the practice when you have sufficient, when you've gotten far enough along that you have a conviction about what the reality is of what you are. When you have a conviction about it, an intellectual understanding, right? A conviction about it, right? Then you want to be able to take that conviction and have it result in certainty. How do you do that? Okay, this is really important, because if you're going to practice meditation, you want the practice to get you on the path, and then you want to be walking the path, and walking the path is practicing being awake all the time. So once you have that experience of uncertainty, you want to get to an experience of certainty. So how do you do that? First of all, you have to have recognized awareness, right? Right? So you know when you're looking at it, right? You know when you're looking at it, right? And then the second thing you have to do is practice checking it. Practice checking it to see if it's still there, right? If you keep checking it to see if it's still there, right, eventually you'll experience certainty, right? When you're a little kid and you leave your house, and you're not used to leaving your house and going other places, right? And you're a little kid, you might get scared, you know? I remember my stepson, when we used to go places away from the house, he used to say, "Do you know how to get back? Do you know how to get back home?" Right? Until he had enough experience of leaving and coming back that he was certain that the house is there, you see? So he's checking it, right? Over and over again. Oh, okay, it's still there, still there, still there. Okay, I don't have to check it anymore, I'm sure it's there. See, like that, right? So this is the same kind of thing, right? To experience certainty about it, you have to have recognized it, right? And then you have to start checking it as often as possible to see, is it true that it's always there? Is it true that it's consistent, right? Right. So here's a kind of a way of understanding what I'm talking about. Get up. Get up. And walk around the room and come back and sit down. Now, I observed as you were walking around the room, nobody was afraid that you were going to float up in the air. Was anybody afraid that you were going to float up in the air? Why not? Gravity. Yeah, gravity. Right? We don't have wings. Well, now you're thinking too much. But, so nobody was afraid that you were going to float up in the air because of gravity, right? Not only because of gravity, but you're certain about gravity, aren't you? You trust it, don't you? You know it's always there. You know it's always working, right? Because when you were a little kid and you were in your high chair and eating your dinner, right? And you took the plate from the high chair and went like this, you know? And then the plate, you know, when little kids like that, right? Oh, that's interesting. Let me do that again. And then the parent yells, you know, stop doing that, you know, and then the kid does it again anyway, right? So the kid's learning about gravity, right? Testing it over and over again, right? Until there's no doubt at all that gravity is real, gravity is here, gravity is always operating, right? So I don't have to worry, you know, when you walk, right? You're using gravity. You lift your weight of your body up, right? And then you let gravity pull it back down. That's called walking, right? So you trust it, you know it's there every time you check on it, right? So this is the same thing, right? This is the same thing. So what you want to do in order to get from the certainty to uncertainty to certainty, right? Uncertain, you become uncertain about what you thought you were certain about, what you thought was true. You start to experience uncertainty. Now you want to get to certainty of what is true, right? So in formal meditation, we're practicing seeing it, we're practicing being it, right? But then what you want to do, the next step is informal meditation, which means during the day, you check it as many times as you can, right? It's a practice. Just the practice of checking it is a meditative practice, because in order to remember to check it, you have to be awake, right? So you're practicing being awake, right? Yeah. So during the day, what you want to do is practice it as often as you can. When I did this, I wasn't aware that I was doing it. It was just natural, you know, that once you practice meditation formally enough, right, and you're aware of being aware, right, then the next thing that happens naturally is that as you are going through your day, doing whatever you're doing, right, you keep checking. Is it still there when I'm driving my car? Okay. Is it still there when I'm walking around? Okay. Is it still there when I'm talking to people? Yes, it's still there. You know, keep checking. No matter what you're doing, no matter what's happening, right, you can check and see that it's there, right? And if you do that consistently over and over again, all day long, right, at some point, certainty will occur. Just like with gravity. At some point, you'll know you know that you're the awareness. No doubt, right? This is crucial, right? This is crucial because the final exam will be the death of the body. Right? Yeah. Can you get certain enough about the truth about what you are that when the body dies, that certainty carries you? That it's not a problem because, you know, you're certain, you know, when you're on your deathbed, you can check, is it still there? Okay, it's still there. Like that. You follow what I'm saying? This is critical. This is critical because what we're up to here is being awake all the time. So to be awake all the time, you have to practice being awake as often as possible during the day, right? And if you do that at some point, it just won't be necessary anymore. Just like the child knows where their house is. Like you know where your house is. You don't have to check it out, right? So this is the process of waking up. This is the process of coming home, except that you're not really coming home, right? You're noticing that you've never ever been anywhere but home. And the way you notice you've never been anywhere but home is to keep checking to see if it's true. Right? And after a while, there's no doubt. You know, if you check it today and tomorrow and next week, and you check it 10 times today, 20 times tomorrow, after a certain point, can you see that checking it, you don't feel like you need to check anymore. You know, like that. So that's what this is about. You know, this is about being awake. This is about recognizing that you're the seer. Recognizing that you're the seer. What does it mean to be the seer? It means to be the seer means that you are the awareness, seeing things as they are, right? Because the more consistently you're experiencing being what you are, the more consistently you're seeing things as they are, right? So now you're related to reality. You're related to things as they are actually happening, right? And when you're related to things the way they're actually happening and when you're being what you actually are, well-being is there. Well-being is there. Because the more consistently you experience what you are, and the more consistently you're awake, right, that experience makes available to you the fact that awake state, that awareness that you are, its nature is happy. It's a different. It's different. You know. It's a happiness is no longer something that you're trying to experience, right? It's something that is there. Every time you're experiencing the truth of yourself, there's happiness like that, and you're checking as consistently as possible, as often as possible, until you're checking so often that the checking, you know, is no longer. It's no longer necessary to check anything. Yeah, because you want to be able to eliminate anything but the actual. See, look, you want to get to the point where the awareness is aware of itself consistently, right? So it's the awareness being aware of itself, right? Doesn't need anything to do that. Doesn't need anything to do that. If you need something to remind you to do that, right, then you're using, you know, that's like training wheels on a bicycle. But at some point you want to discover balance and be able to ride. At some point you want to experience that this awareness that is your true nature is consistent. It's always there. It's never not there. It can be trusted. You can experience certainty about it. That's the thing. That's what you want. You want to experience a certainty about it, that there's no doubt. There's no question about it. And how do you know that anything is true with certainty? Yeah, how did you know that gravity is true with certainty? You experience it, right? That's not the same as you know about it. You see what I'm saying? That's not the same as knowing intellectually about your true nature. It's possible to know intellectually about your true nature. You know what I mean? The teachings are designed to make sense. So as you listen to the teachings and you hear the description of the reality of your true nature, that it makes sense, and so you have an intellectual understanding of it, right? But that won't get you anything. That's just a part of the process to get to the experience of it, and the experience of it is where the certainty can come from. It's the experience of it, right? You want to get to a place where the personality, that's the thing that you used to be certain about. You want to get to the place that the certainty isn't here, it's over here now. The certainty is I'm certain about my true nature, right? And when I thought I was my personality and I was practicing meditation, I started to experience uncertainty, and then I became certain about what I really am, right? And now, not only am I certain about what I really am, I'm certain about what I'm not. What's the mechanism that's necessary for this? Attention, right? Attention. You have to be able to pay attention consistently to the truth, right? Truth is always the same, never changes, always there. But if you're not paying attention to it, you don't see it. You know, I was listening to Lama Lena yesterday. She was talking about this, right? Everybody has Buddha nature. Everybody has Christ consciousness, right? It's always already there. It's not going to happen. It's already always there, right? And when she was talking about, she said, even Donald Trump has Christ consciousness. Even Putin has Christ consciousness, right? But they're preoccupied. They're not paying attention to it, right? They're paying attention to making money and being powerful and being famous. That's where their energy goes, right? Right? So they become corrupt. They're a corrupt form of what they actually are. Do you follow that? A corrupt form of what they actually are. And they're lost in the sauce in terms of trying to win the game based on the idea that I am the body and I am the personality. Right? Yeah.
When our mind is completely blank and we have no thoughts or words, is that awareness?
It's always awareness, even when you have thoughts and words. That's why that's why you're practicing this way, right? So that when you're in the middle of the storm, when you're in the middle of your life, right? You know, when things are challenging you, you know, in terms of pushing buttons that run programs in your mind that are related to the personality and related to time and the story of your life and all that stuff, right? Right? You want to get to a place where no matter what's running, no matter what program is running, you're still aware of awareness. You're still aware of the truth. That's where you want to head to. That's the path that you want to walk on to get to that consistent experience of the truth. Yeah, but when you see what you're not, how could you see what you're not unless you're looking from what you are? They're the only two possibilities. If I'm seeing what I'm not, I have to be looking from what I am, right? They're the only two possibilities. But you have to practice it, you see, that's the thing, because, you know, you've been, when you didn't know about this and you thought you were the body and the personality, right? You were practicing experience, now watch. You were practicing experiencing that. You had certainty about that at one point, right? Why? Because that has all the agreement. Everybody knows that you're a body. Everybody knows that you're a personality. That has all the agreement. Almost all the people on the planet believe that's the truth, right? But the certainty about it is not the actual experience of being a personality, because that's not possible. Do you understand? You've never experienced being a personality, because there ain't no personality to experience being. All you've experienced is thoughts that say you're a personality, right? And so you believe that you're a personality, but you can't experience it because it's not real. The experience of thinking, the experience of feeling, but that's not the experience of self. That's the experience of thinking and feeling, right? But what we do is we infer from that I must be that. I must be the personality, because the personality is what's thinking. Right? But that's not what's thinking. You know, if you pay attention, the personality is not thinking. Thinking is thinking there's a personality. The personality is not thinking. Thinking is thinking there's a personality, right? But you can't experience being a personality because there ain't no personality. What there is what is real and what you can experience, right? It's your true nature, is the awareness itself. That's real. That's always there. That's real. You can experience that. And what we're talking about is practicing experiencing that as consistently as possible during the day. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
And if you do that consistently, you'll start to experience the difference it makes to be awake. Start to experience that your well-being is an experience. Your well-being is an experience. It's not a thought. Your well-being is an experience. It's not a behavior. It's not a belief. Right? Your well-being is an experience, and the only way you can experience well-being is to be what you are, because that's what is well-being. Well-being is you're being well when you're being what you are. You're being, that's real health. That's real health when you're being what you are. You can experience emotions. You can experience energy, which is emotions. You can experience thoughts, right? But none of that is the personality, because there ain't no personality. Personality is an inference made about that. I think, therefore I am. If I'm thinking, there must be a me thinking, and that I call that my personality. What we're talking about here is the process, the process of getting to a place where there is no process like that. And it takes a commitment. It takes a commitment. It takes a conviction. It takes a motivation see, that's the thing. If you understand the possibility of what this makes available, you have to really let that sink in, because that's what's going to be that's what's going to motivate you to do this. You want to experience the truth. You want to be the experience of the truth. Why? Because it is fulfilling. It's fulfilling. It's satisfying. Right? It's peaceful. It's what you want more than anything else, is to experience the truth, because the truth is freedom. The truth is the fulfillment of your existence as a human being.
When you're in the present moment, fully attentive to whatever's happening. I'm looking at the sky, a bird is flying overhead. I'm fully attentive to that. You're in awareness at that point, aren't you?
No.
Why not?
Because you are awareness, you're not in awareness.
That sounds like semantics.
Well, if you can call it semantics if you want to, but if you understand the truth and if you practice this, you'll see that it's not semantics. See, when you say you're in awareness, who's in awareness?
The self is in awareness.
The self is awareness. Yeah, so it's not in anything, it is. It is it.
But can't you appreciate it more if you're living in the present moment more?
Can who appreciate it more? You see?
Right.
You see, you have to practice. See, by practicing, you won't keep falling into that mistake. You see, it's a habit. That's why it comes out of your mouth so easily. It's a habit. To think you're this body and to think you're a personality is a habit. And it's a bad habit because it doesn't work. It's a bad habit because it produces suffering. And you've been blessed. You've been blessed to be exposed to this, right? Where most of humanity is not exposed to this. And so they don't see any option. All that they see is available is to get more money, be famous, and be powerful. That's how you win the game. That's the only game in town as far as most of humanity is concerned. So when this is made available to you, when you are blessed with the opportunity to come out of that and see the truth, if you don't take advantage of that, that's a tragedy. Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking of David Rodden's comments about when you're walking, just walk.
Yeah.
Just be in the walking.
No, you're not in the walking. You're not walking. So you see, see what happens is you hear what he said, and your brain translates it into the lie. When you're walking, He never said that. He said, when the body's walking, notice the body's walking. Not when you're walking. You're not walking, the body's walking. You're not breathing, the body's breathing. You're not beating your heart, the body's beating the heart. You know, you want to come out of these false understandings about reality and start seeing things as they are. You know, so if you want to take care of the body, get out of the way and let it take care of itself. It knows how to do that. It's very intelligent. It's far more intelligent than you are when it comes to the body.
It almost seems like that conditioned response, though, is almost like tattooed into me.
It is. It is. It's imprinted in your brain. It's imprinted in your brain. That's why I'm talking about how to get out of that. How you got to get out of that is you've got to consistently practice being out of it, which means consistently checking to see, is the awareness here, is the awareness here, is the awareness here, right? All right? And then the next step out of that is that certainty about the awareness is the certainty that I am that. First, I'm certain that that's there, certain that that's always there, right? Certain that that never leaves, right? And then the next step is just to surrender that I am that. You think something and you speak it like that's the way. Oh, this is very difficult. How do you know?
Because it's been.
Well, the thought just happened and I believed it. That's how I know.
Because it's been years and I'm stuck.
Who is stuck?
The personality that I am, that thinks knows it's aware, but it's not. But even though.
Can you see that the personality just used your mouth?
I know.
The personality that I see,
And it controls all my thoughts.
But to live in this world, she has to have that personality.
Yeah, that's right, but she doesn't have to be it. You have to have a car to get somewhere, but you don't think you're your car. Right?
Sometimes
Well, that's true, that's right. That's what happens with the personality. It identifies itself with other objects, right, in order to ingratiate itself and to extend its value. If I don't consider myself to be very valuable, but I have a Rolls Royce, that'll help my image.